Hi, in this video we're going to look at forcing data, looking at the tools you've got to correct data, force data, and change variables. So for the purposes of this demonstration, we're going to have a data file that's got two records in it, and it's got the serial number 001 and another one here with the serial number 002. And just to make it nice and easy, the data that they've got is 567890, with the 5 in column 5, the 6 in column 6, and so on up to the 0 in column 10. Just makes it easy to remember what we've got when we're doing the examples. So that's our data file, and what I've got here is a script that's going to read that data file and list it out as it is after we've done any forcing. Well, we've got nothing in here at the moment, so let's just see what it does when we run it with no instructions in there. And you can see for the two records, it's listing out columns 5 to 10 as being 567890 as they were in the source data. Alright, so let's start doing some work and looking at the commands that we've got. And we're going to look at that, forcing both data and variables. So first of all, I'm going to use the 0 command, and the 0 command will just blank out a field for me. So let's say if we 07 to 9, that's going to blank out columns 7, 8, and 9. And if I run it again now, and we look at our listing here, we'll see that what we've got is 5 and 6 still there, 7, 8, and 9 have been zeroed out or blanked out, and there's a 0 still in 10. So that's what 0 is doing, it's blanking out or removing that data. Let's look at another command now. I'm going to comment this so that when I finish this file, it'll be in the state that you'll find it in the folder DAT01 in the files that you can use with MRDCL. So that's taking that statement out now. And the next one we're going to look at after 0 is a define statement. So a define statement lets you set one or more columns. So if we say define 6 equals a 5, that's going to reset column 6 to be a 5 rather than a 6, that's what it started as. So if we now run that, look at our report file, it's the report.txt file I'm looking at here, you'll see that rather than 567890, now we've got 557890. So that's another type of statement that you can have. A define statement can also range over more than one column, so we can say we want to define 6 to 8 equal to 100. I'm going to comment this out again. So that's going to change 6 to 1, 7 to 0, and 8 to 100. Run it again, look at our listing file, and now you can see we've got 5100, then it resumes with a 9 and the 0. So that's another way of using the define statement. Now another statement that you've got, but you haven't got available with sort of standard ASCII data, is a make statement. If you want that, you would have to put a card characters binary statement at the top of your script, and then you can say things like make 7 blank and 4. So that will blank out what's in 7 and put a 4 in there, and I can run it now, and you can see we get 5, 6, 4, 8, 9, and 0. But you would need, as I say, to have a card characters binary in there to use a make statement with on a data field. You can use makes with variables, as we'll see in a second. All right, so that's looked at some things that we can do there with make statements. I'll put a comment on here. You would need card character binary. So that's a little reminder in the file when you come to see it. If we want to, we can filter these zeros and make statements. So now we could say if IOBS is 1, 0, 6 to 8. So what this means is I want to 0, 6 to 8, but only if IOBS is 1. Now what IOBS is a variable that MRDCL automatically constructs for you based on the serial number. So given the fact that we've got serial numbers in 1 to 4, it's going to make us a variable called IOBS automatically. And if that value is 1, in other words, the first serial number in that data file, it's going to 0 it. So let's run that. And you can see what I've got now. For the first record, we've got 5 blank 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 90, but it's untouched. The second record, that's still 5 6 7 8 9 because of that filter condition. And indeed, you can use a define statement in exactly the same way using IOBS. So the purpose of all these examples here really is to show you how you can force data. You could have a list of records here that you wanted to blank something out, or you could just have individual records. It's ways of fixing data that's either got data that you need to remove so that it's clean data, or perhaps it's data that you want to add something to. An example might be if you've got an open-ended question and you wanted to back code pre-codes from open-ended answers that someone's coded, for example. All right, so that's doing work with data, raw data. And of course, if you do that at the top of the script and then pick up variables, that will affect how it picks up the data. Everything will work in a logical order here. If we put a variable in here that picked up something on column 7, if we said DSQ1 is 1 to 9 here, and then 0 7 here, and we listed Q1 here, what we would get is Q1 exactly as it was entered. So we run it here, we look at our records now, and we can see that Q1 has the answer 7, because in the logical flow of things, we picked up Q1 here, we've only zeroed column 7 and get to 9 at this stage. If, of course, we move that to the top and run it, now we'll find that Q1 is empty, because in the logical flow of things, we've actually removed that data before we picked it up. So I'm going to just set it back there and have that in the script. All right, so let's now look at what we can do with variables. It's pretty similar to what we've seen already, but with some slight differences. So I'm going to define a variable which is called QQ, which picks up column 7, 1 to 9. So there's my variable, and if I list that as I did at the top there, you'll find that it would just list out the value when we get down to QQ here. So let me comment this out, and now I'm going to list $QQ. Now I can do some fixes on that. If I wanted to, I could say I wanted to make QQ answer 3. Now let's see what that does to the output for QQ. You'll now see that QQ's got value 3 and 7. That's because QQ's a multi. It picked up the 7 from the original data, but by making it a 3, it's added a 3 there. So it picked up the 7 that was on the original data, but now it's added a 3. If I wanted to get rid of the original 7, I could say make QQ blank and 3, and now when I list it out, I'll only have the 3 there. So if I run it again, look at my list, I've only got the 3 now because I blanked it out, the original 7, and replaced it with a 3. So B means blank out and now add a 3. The next thing I might want to do is to take out just the 7. So we could now come here, we could say, well, I want to say make QQ not 7 and a 4. So that would say not 7 would take the 7 out if it was there and add a 4. Look at it again, and sure enough, I've just got a 4 there now because I've removed the 7 that was originally in the data. So there's various things you can do there with nots and blank. You can string these commands together. So if we had another variable here, is 8, 1 to 9, I could say And I could say I want to blank that and make it 2 and 3. I don't know why I want to do that, but let's say I didn't actually list QQ and RR there, so I'm going to list $QQ and $RR. And now what we should get in our listing is that we've got QQ set to 4 because we took the 7 out, but RR, whatever was there before, I blanked it out and replaced it with 2 and 3. And I've done that all in one command here by saying make QQ not 7 and 4 and RR blank and 2 and 3. And you can use a 0 statement to 0 variables out as well, just like we did when we zeroed 7 to 9. Again, I can make that conditional, so I could say I only want to apply this to serial number 2 this time, if IOBS is 2, and run that, and sure enough, serial number 1 stays with the original data of 7 and 8, but serial number 2 has a 4 and a 2 and a 3 now in those variables. So that's gotten through the basics of forcing data. You can use things like spreadsheets to store all your list of changes you want to make to data, whether that be questions or variables or the raw data itself. But this just gives you a primer into how you can start to correct data and get your data clean. There are other ways of doing it. Many people just clean their variables as they pick them up. They filter them on logical conditions so that the variables only contain the answers they want so that they're exported. This is a way to actually physically clean the raw data or make forces on data to fix them by using the make and zero commands. Thank you.